The story of the animate doll, the one that steps from the toy chest into our nightmares, begins not with fear, but with creation. The urge to replicate the human form is ancient, perhaps innate. Long before recorded history, hands shaped clay and carved stone into figures that echoed their own bodies. The 40,000-year-old Lion Man of Hohenstein Stadel, a hybrid figure found deep within a German cave, hints at early symbolic thought, a blurring of human and animal, the mundane and the mystical. More familiar are the Venus figurines, like the voluptuous Venus of Willendorf, scattered across Paleolithic Europe. Were they fertility charms, representations of a great goddess, ancestral figures? We can only speculate, but their existence confirms a profound, early engagement with crafting humanoid forms. Archaeological evidence suggests dolls may be the oldest known toys, with human and animal shapes dating back to 2600 BCE found in Mesopotamia. Yet, from their earliest appearances, these figures often straddled the line between plaything and potent object. In the sun-drenched civilization of ancient Egypt, this duality is palpable. Wooden paddle dolls, dating from around 2000 BCE, have been unearthed in tombs. Flat, stylized figures, often adorned with patterns representing jewelry or textiles, and crowned with elaborate hair made of mud beads strung on linen thread. Their purpose remains debated. Intriguingly, the Metropolitan Museum of Art suggests a ritual function for these paddle dolls. Their distinctive keyhole shape resembles the counterpoise of Menat necklaces, sacred instruments associated with the goddess Hathor, shaken during religious ceremonies. The paddle dolls, with their own cascades of beaded hair, might have served a similar percussive purpose, wielded by singers and dancers in Hathor's honor. Here, the doll is not just an image, but an active participant in ritual. Egypt also gives us the Ushabti figures, small effigies placed in tombs. These were not toys, but magical servants, intended to answer the call to labor on behalf of the deceased in the afterlife. The Ushabti embodies the concept of the doll as a substitute, but the Egyptian use of effigies extended beyond the tomb and into the realm of power. Some of the earliest documented examples of figure magic were enacted for state security. Stone or clay figurines representing enemies of the pharaoh were ritually destroyed, decapitated, pierced, bound, crushed. The intent clear. Through sympathetic magic, the destruction of the image would translate into the defeat of Egypt's foes. This established a powerful precedent. Actions performed on a likeness could directly affect the entity it represented. This principle traveled across the Mediterranean to Greece and Rome. While dolls existed as children's toys, crafted from clay, wood, ivory, or rags, some with articulated limbs appearing as early as 200 BCE, they retained deep ritual significance. Terracotta dolls are common archaeological finds, suggesting wider accessibility. This connection to life stages is reinforced by the tradition of girls dedicating their dolls to goddesses like Artemis or Venus before marriage, a symbolic farewell to girlhood. For girls who died young, dolls became potent symbols of unfulfilled potential, often buried with them. Across these cultures, the doll occupied a threshold space, not merely a toy, yet not solely sacred, a companion in childhood, yet relinquished upon entering adulthood, a comfort for the living, yet a silent attendant to the dead. This inherent ambiguity made the doll uniquely potent. The Greco-Roman world also embraced figure magic's darker potential, developing practices known as kolossoi. These effigies cursed individuals and bound spirits or deities. A community might bind Ares, god of war, within a poppet to compel his protection. More personally, kolossoi were used in curse tablets. At a temple site in Mainz, Germany, a clay figurine inscribed with a name was found pierced, twisted, broken, and buried face down, evidence of a potent curse. Wax figures were used in binding love spells, such as 2 figures found intertwined in an Egyptian cemetery during the Roman period, accompanied by a detailed papyrus spell. In Rome, 6 wax poppets, each with inscribed bone, sealed in lead containers, were discovered deep within an ancient cistern, suggesting a desire to imprison and isolate targets. Comparing Egyptian state-sponsored magic with the personal focus of Greco-Roman practices reveals an evolution. Magic became an accessible tool for navigating personal desires and conflicts, laying groundwork for folk traditions and horror narratives centered on power within a simple doll. The magical principles honed in antiquity echoed through European folk traditions. Central was sympathetic magic, codified by Sir James George Frazer in The Golden Bough. He identified 2 core principles: the law of similarity, like produces like, and the law of contact or contagion, that things once in contact maintain a connection. The poppet most potently embodies these principles. Derived from the Middle English poppet, meaning a small child or doll, these figures weren't toys, but crafted effigies from cloth, wax, clay, roots, or even fruit. Their power lay in their connection to the target, strengthened by incorporating personal items: hair, nails, clothing scraps, saliva, blood, or a signature. This taglock created a bridge, ensuring actions on the poppet transferred to the individual. This tradition, often misassociated solely with voodoo, is a direct inheritor of Greco-Roman and ancient Egyptian practices, woven into European folk belief for millennia. The poppet served many purposes. Its most notorious use, amplified by witch trials, was for cursing. A 10th century English charter details land confiscation from a widow accused of driving an iron nail into an effigy. A 9th century Irish text describes poets cursing an unjust king, chanting satire while piercing his clay image with hawthorn thorns. During the 1692 Salem witch trials, pinned poppets were damning evidence. Poppets in old chimneys hint at protective magic or forgotten curses. However, to focus solely on the malevolent ignores its benevolent roles in healing. Dolls stuffed with herbs like lemon balm or feverfew, embedded with stones like turquoise or bloodstone, directed healing energy. Wax effigies of the sick or ailing body parts left at sacred wells were believed to continue absorbing healing energies. Love magic also utilized poppets, figures representing a desired partner filled with items like rose quartz or parsley, echoed Roman-era intertwined wax figures. Protection was key. Poppets representing family, charged with protective energies using basil or hematite, guarded loved ones. The German kitchen witch, warding off culinary mishaps, likely belongs here. Poppets also attracted prosperity, filled with cinnamon or coins, or bound harmful individuals, like ancient Greek kolossoi. Creating and using a poppet was often ritualistic, requiring consecration, naming, and dedication. Energy and intent were infused, sometimes by breathing life into it. Actions: piercing, binding, cooling, heating, were symbolic. Equally important was dismantling the poppet, breaking the magical link. While sensational tales focus on curses, the poppet addressed fundamental human needs: health, love, safety, prosperity, justice. Irish rituals against unjust kings or binding spells functioned as social regulation or resistance, attempts to exert influence when conventional means failed. It offered a tangible way to engage intangible forces. The persistence of sympathetic magic principles across cultures suggests deeply rooted modes of human thought. This intuitive grasp of symbolic connection explains why effigy magic resonates, making the haunted or killer doll retain its symbolic potency, even in a rational age. Modern horror filmmakers tap into this primal understanding every time they bring a doll malevolently to life.